The deepest part of the antique market. Beishi Street is bustling with activity. This street is about 100 meters long, and there are only 30 or 40 shops in total. However, each shop is filled with various large and small stones inside and outside, and there are a large number of buyers picking and choosing. It looks incomparable. The prosperity. The arrival of Chen Han and others also attracted the attention of the whole street. After all, so many people came together, and people who didn't know it thought something big had happened. Brother Chen, look around and pick whatever you want. I'm familiar with the owners of these shops. If you can't find something you like, I'll take you to their warehouses to find it. Mr. Shu promised with a smile. After Chen Han thanked him, he started to look at these stones. Open black lens bracket emerald rough stone close black lens bracket. Variety Nuzhong. Value 38,000 yuan. Investment income 60%. Comma. Open black lens bracket Tianwang rough stone close black lens bracket. Variety green field yellow. Advertisement. Value 67,000 yuan. Investment income 320%. Comma. Open black lens bracket chicken blood jade raw stone close black lens bracket. Variety cloud red. Value 6,000. Investment income 1,536,200%. Pieces of information about rough stones, large and small, are constantly appearing in front of you. After Chen Han glanced at it for a few times, he couldn't help but feel excited. Obviously, there are really good things in these stones. Once you buy them and cut them, you can get pieces of beautiful jade. This is a priceless treasure. But before Chen Han could make a move, there were a lot of eye-catching passers-by around him, ready to grab it like crazy. Chen Han just took a second look at a rough jade stone. Immediately, a dozen guys rushed out, hugging the stone and refusing to let go. Boss, I want this piece, please tell me the price. FK, I grabbed this, get out of here. FKU, I grabbed this. I came first, okay, boss, sell it to me. These guys screamed excitedly, and the scene suddenly became chaotic. The owner of the stone gambling shop was stunned with fright, and everyone was also confused when they saw this scene. Damn it, what are you doing? Is it necessary to be so exaggerated? Ha ha ha, Chen Han's reputation has become so great now. After looking at the stone a few more times, people immediately snapped up it. Anyone who can hang out in the antique market is really not a fool, haha, this scene is quite interesting. It's over, Chen Han can't gamble anymore, this is going to be a very frustrating time. In the studio, Naja and the other three were overjoyed. Because they saw depression on Chen Han's face for the first time, which was not easy. In fact, Chen Han is really depressed. There are really a lot of good things in these stones, but he can't get them. Once he takes a few more glances, many people will take the lead. How can he bet on it? Everyone is using him as a searchlight. This is indeed the case. Yang Mi covered her mouth and chuckled. Chen Han, congratulations, you are now the guiding light of the entire antique market. If you look at all the stones, these guys will probably dare to buy them all. Woolen cloth. What should we do now? Reba frowned in distress. There is no way. Sun Hongale shook his head and said, in this case, it is inconvenient for Chen Han to do anything. It is impossible to gamble on stones. Yes, Chen Han shrugged and said with a smile, in this case, it is really impossible to play any tricks. Let's just hang out. That's fine, okay, just take a walk around. But Yuan Zimo can gamble. I wonder if he will choose to invest in stone. Reba Yang Mi looked at Yuan Zimo curiously. After this guy heard that Chen Han couldn't take action, a proud smile immediately appeared on his face. Everyone, I'm sorry. Yuan Zimo smiled politely. Since Chen Han doesn't choose to gamble on stones, I won't be polite. After all, the whole day can't be wasted. Please, Chen Han shrugged indifferently. I don't care how much money Yuan Zimo will earn. In fact, Chen Han can also see that this guy is very capable. Now that no one is stopping him, he is really going to make a lot of money. Sure enough, after the two parted ways, Yuan Zimo set his sights on a jadeite stone the size of his head. He bought the stone for 180,000 yuan, and when he cut it open, he found a large piece of jadeite. For a moment, everyone around them exclaimed, such a large piece of waxy jade is worth hundreds of thousands. Master, is this guy hiding his secrets? I saw that he seemed to be here with Mr. Shu. Isn't he also a master of stone gambling? I don't know. If you look around, maybe he can really cut out something good. It's a pity that that brat named Chen Han refuses to bet on stones, otherwise we can make some money too. Who knows, maybe he's not good at playing this thing. But this young man is pretty good and has good luck. There were discussions in the crowd. A confident smile appeared on Yuan Zimo's face again. The confidence and arrogance in his heart that were crushed by Chen Han were rapidly building up. He had secretly made up his mind that before the auction started, he must find a priceless jade to wash away his shame. Yuan Zimo's place is very lively. I'll go take a look. Do you want to go? Sun Hongale asked eagerly. If you don't want to go, don't go. There are too many people and it will be crowded. That's right, we're not going to squeeze in. Let's go shopping with Chen Han, you go to Yuan Zimo's place. Reba and Yang Mi decisively refused. The two beauties followed Chen Han with no intention of moving away. Chen Han burst out laughing when he saw this, and suddenly remembered that he had the skills of a master sculptor. Then he saw that jade was being sold all over Gambling Street. He thought for a while and said with a smile, how about I carve a few pieces of jade for you to play with? Carving. Chen Han, can you also carve jade? How come you have such a brain? Why can you know everything? Reba and Yang Mi were amazed. The two women looked at Chen Han as if he were a monster. This kind of look made him feel a little hairy. Mr. Shu was also a little surprised. He smiled and said, Brother Chen, do you know how to carve? Jade carving or stone carving? They all have it. It's just a joke. Chen Han said humbly. Aren't you itching to see the good materials everywhere, and there is still some time before the auction you always talked about, so I want to practice my skills. If you're not interested, just pretend I didn't say anything. Yes, I'm interested. Me too, me too. You can carve anything for me, I like it all. Oh, by the way, can we choose the materials ourselves? Reba and Yang Mi's eyes shone with excitement, and they excitedly pulled Chen Han to start choosing ingredients. This street not only sells stones, but also has a large number of jade materials and high-quality stones that have been sold. It would be unreasonable to come back empty-handed after a long trip. After witnessing Chen Han's magic, the two women are now looking forward to his carving skills. Wow, Chen Han can also carve. I'm really looking forward to it. You know, there are actually fewer and fewer carving masters in China. Actually, I have a good piece of jade in my hand, but I can't find a carver to help me. What a pity. I'm so envious of Reba and Mimi. Can we switch with them in the next show? Let them be the observation team and we will be the mentors. It will feel great. In the studio, Naja Yaya was envious. Reba and Yang Mi took Chen Han to pick and choose. The two of them were more excited than shopping. Finally, Reba chose a Hachan jade that was all green and larger than a pigeon egg. This piece of Hoden jasper cost her a total of 130,000 yuan. Yang Mi chose a piece of white Hachan jade of similar size, priced at 180,000. They both have a good eye for choosing jade. The two pieces of jade, one green and one white, are both transparent and clean. They are definitely top-quality jade. These two pieces of good jade materials have activated Chen Han's creative passion. Mr. Shu helped find a place to sit down at a nearby stone betting shop and borrowed a set of tools. Everything was ready and all he needed was the east wind. What do you want to carve? Don't make it too difficult. If it's too difficult, we don't have so much time. Chen Han asked with a smile. I want to carve a Buddha, a big-bellied Maitreya Buddha. Is that possible? Yang Mi asked expectantly. Okay, Chen Han nodded and asked Reba, what about you? What do you want to carve? I didn't think about what I wanted to carve, you can do whatever you want. Reba waved her hands carelessly. Okay, Chen Han couldn't help but laugh. After thinking for a moment, he started to carve officially. For him, the jade carving this time was just to kill time. However, it was his first time carving after acquiring the Grand Master sculpting skill, so this trial became very meaningful. Holding the carving knife in hand, Chen Han's temperament changes suddenly. He went from a gentle young man to a calm swordsman in an instant, with only the jade material in his hands and his eyes. It is very cumbersome for an ordinary jade carver to carve jade, which requires more than a dozen steps such as material preparation, design, drawing, cutting, etc., and even requires the use of many professional small machines. But Chen Han is not that troublesome. He had already completed the composition in his mind, and the images of jade carvings had quietly appeared one by one. The carving knife is released, and the jade materials fly. Everyone saw the flash of the sword, and the white jade material in Chen Han's hand quickly peeled off, and a whole rough jade carving began to take shape. The carving knife in his hand was as precise as a laser. What Yang Mi wanted was a small jade Buddha pendant. She thought Chen Han would carve an ordinary Maitreya Buddha, but in fact he didn't do that. Ordinary carving techniques are a waste of jade materials. Chen Han first carved the jade material in his hand into the shape of a round stone, and then embossed a lifelike image of Maitreya Buddha on it. It looked as if Maitreya Buddha was leaning on the stone and meditating, surrounded by some bamboo. The pattern looks extremely vivid. Hiss, what kind of technique is this? It has both hollow carving and inverted carving skills. This technique is so clever, it's 10,000 times better than any jade carving master I've ever seen. Mr. Shu exclaimed, which aroused everyone's surprise. Is this jade carving technique really clever? Does anyone know? Tell me. I don't know if it's good or not, but I always feel that there is an artistic beauty when looking at Chen Han's carvings. Yes, just looking at his technique, it feels very comfortable and natural, as if it is art. It's scary. How can this guy know so much at such a young age? In the studio, Naja, Yaya and Huangbo were discussing and sighing again. And Yang Meyerba at the scene was already dazzled. They didn't say anything, they just stared at Chen Han's movements, their eyes were already full of his figure. If they had to describe it in one sentence, then they can only say that they are so handsome. Serious men are the most handsome. At this time, Chen Han was focused, confident, free and elegant. They had seen many good-looking young celebrities, but they had never felt so comfortable. This feeling is so addicting. The two of them couldn't wait to keep watching. In the depths of their eyes, a hint of brilliance flashed unconsciously. Rough carving, fine carving, grooming, polishing. After busying himself with a series of handicrafts, Chen Han soon had 2 finished jade carvings in his hands. One piece is completely white and translucent, with a pendant carved with a Maitreya Buddha leaning against a rocky mountain. It looks lifelike, and the Maitreya Buddha is also silly and funny. The overall look is particularly high-end and perfect. One piece is completely green, with a rockery garden carved on the front, and a pendant of a beautiful woman in ancient costume leaning on a building and chuckling. The key point is that this pendant is 90% similar to Reba, as if it is her in person, and it looks extremely beautiful. The artistic conception and shape of the 2 jade carvings are all perfect. These are 2 pieces of art that make people unable to take their eyes away at a glance. Wow, 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 it's so beautiful, I like it so much. Is this really for me? Reba was so excited that she couldn't put it down. Yang Mi is also quite satisfied with her jade Buddha, but she is even more envious of Reba's jade carving. After all, a jade carving herself is really beautiful and meaningful. Damn it, if I had known earlier, I wouldn't have wanted the jade Buddha, and I would have looked like this. This is so beautiful, Yang Mi whispered in envy. Mimi is so unsatisfied, we don't even have a piece. That's right. If I had known that being a mentor would bring such beautiful gifts, I would have wanted to be a mentor too. Before the recording of the next program, I must change with Reba Mimi, In the live broadcast room, Naja Yaya was envious and jealous again. Mr. Shu glanced at Chen Han in shock and said seriously, Brother Chen, your craftsmanship is so good. It is 100 times better than many jade carving masters I have seen. You 2 little girls, you don't know the jade in your hands. Can I part with you? You can set the price as you please, and I will never counter-offer. Old man, you are overthinking, how could we possibly sell this thing? That's right, all fools know that the value of this thing will increase 10 times or 100 times after being carved. Even if you give me 10 million, I won't sell it. Yes, and this thing is so meaningful, I wouldn't even sell it if you gave me 100 million. Reba and Yang Mi held on to their pendants and decisively rejected Mr. Shu's purchase request, which also made Mr. Shu embarrassed and disappointed. To be honest, he really likes this jade carving. If the 2 women are willing to take action, he will pay tens of millions of dollars to buy it. What a pity, what a pity. Mr. Shu shook his head regretfully, but Chen Han smiled in surprise. Mr. Shu, why do you do this? Am I not here? Just bring a piece of material over here and I will carve it for you. Real. Mr. Shu was overjoyed. He stared at Chen Han excitedly and asked, Brother Chen, are you really willing to help me carve it? Of course. Chen Han shrugged and said, actually, carving is not a difficult task, and I also hope to have more opportunities to practice my skills. Thanks, thanks. Mr. Shu was so excited that his whole body trembled. He carefully took out a piece of chicken blood jade that was the size of a child's hand and was bright red, and begged, "Brother, if it's convenient for you, just carve this piece. My granddaughter is about to turn 18. She has a terminal disease and won't live long. I want to give her a special gift. She likes jade very much. She will be very happy if she can receive a jade carving carved by you yourself. This is her photo. See if you can carve her likeness on it like this little girl's jade sculpture." After Mr. Shu finished speaking, he tremblingly took out a photo. In this photo, there is a very beautiful young girl. She looks a little melancholy, and her skin color is also strangely white, as if she has been suffering from a long-term illness. It can be seen that Mr. Shu loves his granddaughter very much. Otherwise, I wouldn't have behaved like this just now. There was a hint of pleading in my words. So that's it. Reba Yongmi's heart softened and she begged Chen Han repeatedly, "Why don't you give Shulao a piece of carving?" "Good," Chen Han agreed with a smile. To be honest, such transparent chicken blood jade is still rare. Seeing such good materials, Chen Han was still a little itchy, and Mr. Shu was a nice person, so helping him carve one was nothing. Chen Han took the chicken blood jade and looked at it carefully. After looking at the photos a few more times, the image of a jade sculpture emerged in my mind. Chen Han started quickly, and the carving knife cut across the chicken blood jade like lightning. All kinds of jade scraps flew around, and a rough jade carving shape gradually appeared. Half an hour later, a jade sculpture of a woman in ancient costume sitting on a half-moon appeared in his hands. The half-moon carved out of this piece of bloodstone is completely red, as perfect as a blood moon. The woman is gentle and charming, sitting on the half-moon seems to be blown away by the wind, so perfect. So beautiful, my God. How can she be so beautiful? Reba exclaimed. It's so beautiful, Yang Mi exclaimed with bright eyes. This piece of chicken blood jade has turned into a perfect half-moon pendant, so beautiful. Wow, I'm jealous again. Okay. After this piece of chicken blood jade is carved, its value will increase at least 100 times. It's scary. Chen Han is so awesome, is this okay? In the studio, Naja Yaya exclaimed again. After Mr. Shu took the pendant, his whole body was trembling with excitement, and a trace of tears flashed deep in his eyes. So beautiful. Wow, another emerald came out, such a big piece. Damn it, is this guy cheating? 7 jade pieces were found out of 10 rough stones. Who is this guy? So awesome. The Beishi street side is gradually becoming lively. Many passers-by watched and exclaimed. It was obviously Yuan Zimo and Sun Hongale's stone gambling that caused a sensation. Such a big movement even alarmed Chen Han and others who were hiding aside to rest. But Chen Han laughed dumbly and didn't care. Although Yuan Zimo had always regarded him as a competitor, Chen Han didn't take him seriously. It was all because of his own sentimentality. Chen Han doesn't care how much money he makes. After all, no one is an opponent for the systematic Chen Han. He doesn't take anyone seriously. Only a series of money-making plans are what he cares about most. I hope there will be good things in the auction, otherwise today's harvest will end here. Chen Han whispered in his heart and subconsciously looked at the time. It was already 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's almost time. Mr. Shu thought he was impatient and said quickly, "Brother Chen, just call your friends and we can go directly. If you don't go, we will be late." Good. Chen Han nodded in agreement. At this time, Sun Hongale and Yuan Zimo also walked out of the crowd. Their faces were glowing red, and they were obviously still in a state of excitement. Sun Hongale said even more excitedly, "Oh my God, Yuan Zimo is so scary. 7 pieces of jade are found out of 10 rough stones. Except for 2 pieces of jade, the other 5 are of no value. I've made a fortune. How much did you earn? Are you so excited?" Yang Mi joked with a smile. 5 pieces of jade, no matter what, 7 or 8 million, plus what he earned before, this guy has earned more than 10 million today, tisk tisk tisk. Gambling on stones is really exciting. Sun Hongale was full of praise. Yeah, it's indeed quite a lot. Awesome. Reba and Yang Mi casually dealt with it without paying much attention. After seeing Chen Han's tens of millions of dollars, he always felt that something was wrong when he looked at others. At this time, the two of them were focused on their own pendants, playing with the exquisite pendants in their hands. Both women felt happy in their hearts. Flower. Hey, why aren't you surprised? Sun Hongale was puzzled when he saw this, but Yuan Zimo was already livid with anger. He thought that his vigorous performance would impress others, but Reba and Yang Mi reacted like this. Isn't this too perfunctory? Do you want to be so exaggerated? What's so surprising? Mr. Shu wished he had tens of millions to buy the pendant that Chen Han carved casually. Reba muttered in a low voice. Sun Hongale and Yuan Zimo were immediately dumbfounded. Tens of millions? Damn, what are you talking about? The two of them didn't believe it at first, but when they saw the beautiful pendant in Reba's hand, they couldn't help being secretly shocked. This thing is so beautiful. Could it be that Chen Han also carved this? Why is this guy so versatile? Oh my god, this pendant is so well made. It's definitely not going to be sold for tens of millions, but someone will definitely buy it for millions. Nima, how many good things have I missed? If I hadn't gone to see Yuan Zimo gambling on stones, wouldn't I have also gotten a pendant? What a pity, what a pity. Sun Hongale shook his head depressedly and laughed at himself, which made Reba Yangmi laugh out loud. Brother Hongale, don't worry. I'll carve one for you next time. Let's go to the auction first. Chen Han assured casually, and Sun Hongale immediately beamed. Okay, this is what you said. Let's go to the auction. Everyone was talking and laughing, and under the leadership of Mr. Shu, they went straight to the auction venue. Everyone subconsciously ignored Yuan Zimo, who had just stolen the limelight. This scene made him furious. Yuan Zimo roared with anger in his heart, but he didn't dare to have an attack under the hidden camera. He almost didn't suffer internal injuries, so he could only pinch himself desperately to relieve his anger. The venue for the small auction is located near Beishi Street. This is a 3-story building covering an area of more than 100 square meters. The decoration is luxurious, low-key and antique. It looks like it should be a place where various antique activities are often held. There is a lot of space inside. At this time, many big names in the antique industry have gathered here. As soon as Mr. Shu arrived, he kept saying hello to everyone, and at the same time he took Chen Han to introduce friends. There were so many experts, professors, and scholars that Chen Han was also so overwhelmed that he couldn't even remember what happened to so many old men. Who is it? But he understands Mr. Shu's thoughts. Mr. Shu regarded him as one of his own, and wanted to introduce him to everyone more so that he could get to know more people, so Chen Han kept smiling without any resentment. Old Shu, is this brother Chen who earns 40 million from 10,000 yuan? It's amazing. It's like the Yangtze River retreats from behind. Brother is awesome, please take more care of us in the future, ha ha ha. Do you have a girlfriend? I have a granddaughter. Are you interested in getting to know her? Shit, Lao Gong, your granddaughter doesn't like men, so you'd better meet my granddaughter. I'm sure you'll like her, little brother. A bunch of old men laughed and joked, and Chen Han responded dumbfounded. He only felt that today's auction was at the wrong time. Why did it turn into a blind date conference? Okay, just take it easy. Mr. Shu smiled and helped him out, and said at the same time, Xiao Chen, don't worry, these crooked people are just joking, let's go. Let's go in, there will definitely be something tonight, something you like. Sure enough, Mr. Shu is not bragging. There are really good things in this auction. Auction on the second floor. Chen Han and others were sitting in the front row. There were only about 100 people in the entire venue, all of whom were well-known figures in the antique industry. After looking at the auction list, Chen Han also understood why this small auction attracted so many big names. Got it. The 8-sided sword of the Han dynasty. Jade carvings from the Tang dynasty. Wooden Buddha statue from the Song dynasty. Paintings from the Ming dynasty. Each treasure collection is listed in the list. Just looking at the photos and introductions is enough to make people dazzled. Reba and Yang Mi kept exclaiming. Sister Mimi, when I came to a place like this, I suddenly felt so poor. What about you? Reba smiled bitterly. Who isn't? Yang Mi shook her head dejectedly. We have been busy for a year, and we might not even be able to afford this 8-sided Han sword. That's not true. The price of this sword is only 30 million. Mr. Shu introduced with a smile. Today's auction has a total of 108 items, all of which are good things collected by major merchants in the antique market. Weijai has 8 of them, tell me what you want and I will take a photo and give it to you. That's not possible, Yang Mi smiled and said, we don't dare to accept such expensive things. Yuan Zimo and Chen Han, you two should think about whether you can pick them up. Haha, these things have been appraised by many experts. It is simply impossible to find out what is missing. Give up. Some people say they want to make 100 million a day, but it seems that they can't do it. Yuan Zimo couldn't help snorting sourly. That's right. Is it crazy to pick something up at an auction? Every piece of this collection is authentic, who can miss it? What should I do? Chen Han's goal seems to be difficult to achieve. Reba Yang Mi couldn't help but feel distressed. They didn't forget that they were here to record a show. They also remember Chen Han's small goals clearly. I thought he could earn tens of millions easily and it would not be difficult to achieve his small goal of 100 million. Who knew there would be so many episodes? Now the last chance is at the auction. If he can't pick up the treasure here, how will Chen Han accomplish his small goal? Actually, there is no need to worry. Chen Han smiled and comforted when he saw this. The goal is just a goal. It doesn't matter whether it is completed or not. And who said that auctions can't be missed? Hey, Yuan Zimo's eyes narrowed and he smiled eccentrically. Are you crazy? Each of these collections are authentic. Don't more than 100 experts know the value, so they let you pick them up like this. Who knows, let's wait and see. Chen Han smiled slightly and stopped talking to him. Instead, he silently looked at the auction list in his hand, with a hint of expectation in his eyes. After a while, the auction begins. An auctioneer in a suit walked up to the stage and said with a smile, "Welcome to this internal auction. You are all old friends. We won't talk nonsense. This auction is sponsored by 13 old stores including *Jai. Every item has been authenticated and there is absolutely no fraud. Please feel free to bid." What we see now is a blue and white plate from the Ming Dynasty. It is small and exquisite, with fine workmanship. It was made by a famous official kiln master in the Ming Dynasty. It can be said to be the best choice for investment. The current base price of this blue and white dish is 500,000. Each bid must not be less than 10,000. Please bid. Advertisement. As soon as the auctioneer finished speaking, there were bursts of bidding sounds from below. 600,000, 630,000, 680,000. The price skyrocketed. When Chen Han saw this, he smiled strangely and shouted, 800,000. Reba and others were suddenly surprised. What is Chen Han doing? He wants to film this disc. However, even if this plate is photographed, it has no investment value. Everyone knows how much the items at auction are worth. After being photographed, most of them take it back and collect it to wait for appreciation. But why did Chen Han buy it? He can't hold it for a long time. After 3 months, they will have to compete with each other for investment income. Can he make the plate appreciate in value within 3 months after buying it? What is Chen Han thinking? Strange. Yuan Zimo is very smart. He knows that there is no treasure to be found in the auction, so he has not moved. But how could Chen Han take action to grab the auction? Does he think there is a mystery in this blue and white plate? In the studio, Naja and the other 3 also looked puzzled. Obviously, everyone can't see through Chen Han's actions and what he wants to do. And after taking 2 or 3 consecutive shots, Chen Han stopped pursuing the photo. In the end, the blue and white plate was taken away by an old professor. Chen Han just shouted a few times from beginning to end, without any real intention to take a picture of the blue and white plate. It's like he's just joining in the fun. Right, that's right, just joining in the fun. He participated in bidding for the next series of lots, but when the critical moment came, he immediately remained silent and allowed the collection to be taken away. This move really confused everyone. Chen Han, what are you doing? Reba couldn't help but ask. Do you want to take pictures, or do you not want to take pictures? Of course, let's warm up first. Chen Han chuckled and looked at the item again. In fact, no one knew that he really wanted to take a picture of something. This thing is not very impressive. However, if the photo can be taken successfully, then you can make a small profit and save more capital for your first pot of gold. Let's take a look at the next set of lots. The auctioneer spoke again. Coming. Chen Han's eyes lit up and he immediately became energetic.